If you were at all born in the late 90s or early 2000s, chances are that you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the greatest shows ever made. And if you've seen that show, chances are that you're binge watching it right now on Netflix or have already binge watched it. And if you've binge watched that show, then chances are you've seen the movie The Last Airbender. And chances are, if you've seen The Last Airbender, then you probably would have killed yourself by then because this movie is fucking terrible. Hi everyone, how you doing? It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And I graduated, school's over, it's summer, I have a lot of time. Well, not anymore, I have a dog I have to take care of now, but besides the point, I expect some more content soon, but I just wanted to make a little unscripted review, so excuse any, ums and a lot of pausing and thinking, because this is 100% unscripted. But basically, I binge watched Avatar: The Last Airbender this past week, and it's great. What else do I need to tell you? It's one of the best animated shows ever made. It's very well paced. The characters are fantastic. The action is very well choreographed and smooth and just precise. Everything was planned out perfectly for this show. As I said, the characters are amazing. The voice acting is all great. It has a lot of humor. It's very fun to watch. The development that the characters go through and the story goes through is all so well done. It's nearly a perfect show. The worst I can say about it is that there are some filler episodes that don't really need to be there, but even then, the filler episodes are still fantastic episodes. So after I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, I realized that M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender was also on Netflix, and I've never seen the movie before, but I know that it's one of the worst movies ever made, and that's not exaggeration. So I went in with very low expectations for this movie, not expecting a damn thing, and somehow my expectations were low, but holy fuck, what happened here? I feel like the people that were involved with this movie have never even watched a single episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because this movie has nothing to do with that show at all. It utterly botches or just completely shits on and disrespects the show completely. There's not a single thing that I can think of that redeems this movie in any form whatsoever. Every technical aspect about this movie is god-awful. Everything about this movie is unsalvageable. There's nothing that was even worth mentioning that is good about this movie. The only times I found myself enjoying this movie is just finding how incompetent and stupidly funny it is. Not funny in the good way, funny in the so bad it's good way.
Katara, do not hit that spear!
So there's a lot of that. For this review, I'm going to dive into this movie in two sections. Section 1 is just critiquing the movie as a movie alone, being completely unbiased as to, how accurate it is to the show, and just judging it as a standalone movie, pretending that I've never seen the show before and just judging it as a movie. Part 2 of this review will be comparing it to the show itself. So let's get this over with, shall we? Okay, so by itself, the movie's terrible. It's utter, absolute garbage. Nothing makes any remote sense whatsoever. I genuinely don't know where to start. Everything from this movie, from the editing, the acting, the characters, the writing, the direction, all terrible. Just terrible. Even the costumes are just look cheap and just bleh, I guess I'll start out with the characters. There are no characters. If you look at this picture right here of Aang, or as the movie likes to call him, Ong, you cannot tell me a single thing about him. He's nothing. He has no character whatsoever. He has no personality. There's nothing to him. It's just a prop. He's a prop that moves the story along. Same thing with Katara and Sokka and everyone else. What can you tell me about this version of Katara? Nothing. What can you tell me about this version of Sokka? Nothing. What can you tell me about this version of Zuko? Nothing. The progression of scenes as well just makes absolutely zero sense. They're just banking on the fact that you've watched the show and you know what's supposed to happen. But if you've never seen the show before and you watch this for the first time, like if you're a parent and you took your child to see this movie in the theaters for the first time and you've never seen the show, you will have no idea what is happening whatsoever. There's nothing happening. Actually, nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. I mean, yeah, things happen, but you don't care. You're not invested. The movie's just hitting basic beats that the show has already established on, and they're just banking on the fact that you've seen the show before to know what's happening. The editing is absolutely just so bad. This is probably the worst editing I've ever seen in a movie ever. Like, Haunting of Sharon Tate had better editing than this, and that's saying something. Like, shots would just stagger on for way longer than they need to, and just like cut at an abrupt moment with no rhythm or progression. Scenes would just transition without any logic or reason. There's no flow to the editing whatsoever. Good editing is when you can't really see it, and if it just flows smoothly and you don't even notice it. That's what good editing is. You feel every cut that this movie makes. Every cut is just so jarring and just jarring. I actually found myself laughing at like how terrible. Like, my jaw was on the floor for most of the editing choices that they make. Like, I'm gonna show you like a clip. I did not doctor this in any way. This is actually how the movie's edited. Just take a look.
I probably should get home. Oh, I'll be worried.
You're not still upset?
Not as much as I was.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that terrible? The acting, it's garbage. Like, there's not a single performance that even remotely works about this from anyone. No one gives any. Like, Slumdog Millionaire is in it. That kid, he does nothing. He's terrible. Ong, the kid who plays Ong, he's a blank slate, has no emotion whatsoever. He doesn't react to anything. Yeah, that's another thing. No one reacts to anything that happens in this movie. The thing is, the direction is so poor that they don't know exactly what they're supposed to react to because the director didn't tell them to react to anything. Speaking of directors, this movie was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, acclaimed, infamous, I guess now infamous director because, he had like 3 good movies under his belt before this, and then after that, everything just went downhill until Split. It astonishes me that a movie with this big of a budget has this poor. It felt so amateurish. I don't even know. I'm a little at a loss for words. I have no idea what to say about it because it's so bad. It genuinely feels as if M. Night had no idea what he was doing and just did whatever he wanted. It's amazing because now I complain about how studios don't give directors complete creative control to do their projects, to complete their vision, but now I see why, because there are movies like this where the directors have too much creative control and just make a complete and utter abomination that just completely disrespects the entire source material. Listen, you don't have to follow the source material to make something good. You can make something good no matter what, but the template was right there. The template to make a good movie was right there in front of you, and you didn't even utilize it. The actors have no chemistry whatsoever. When Sokka and Yue start talking and having a conversation, it's like they're talking to wooden planks. There's like no emotion. There's no connection. There's nada there. They're just reading lines off a board, off screen. Basically, that's what it feels like. God, just thinking about the movie just physically gives me a headache. It's unreal. There's probably some stuff I missed about the movie that I just don't have time to delve into really, but I think that's for the best because I just really don't want to talk about the movie itself anymore. So now we're gonna delve into part 2 where I compare it to the show it's based on. Okay, how do I put this delicately? This movie completely botches the show. Let's start with the characters, basically. Aang and Ong are 2 different people. You get an exact idea of who Aang is in the first episode. He's childish, he's immature, he's fun, he's a goofball. He has this immense responsibility put on him, but he doesn't want to acknowledge it because he's just a kid. He wants to enjoy life and have fun, but he still realizes that at some point he has to take hold of this responsibility and do the right thing. You get that in the first episode. When you meet Ong, there's nothing. You get nothing of his personality. There's nothing there. He's a blank slate. Katara on the show is a ambitious, driven, and determined character, willing to do the right thing no matter what. And she sees Aang and sees the journey that he has to take and joins him in order to help save the world and become a better waterbender. Throughout the show, you grow with her. You see how better she becomes at waterbending and how much more skilled she becomes. Sokka in the show is the comedic relief of the group, and even as a comedic relief, he still has plenty of personality, character, and depth, and learns a lot about himself and everyone else throughout the show. He grows as a person. Sokka in the movie, or as he's called for some reason, Sokka, he is a wooden board. No, I'm sorry. A wooden board has more personality than this actor right here. First of all, he wasn't funny. His acting was terrible. He had no personality. He had no emotion whatsoever. And he single-handedly delivered the worst line in the whole movie. Here, let me play a clip for you.
I've loved spending these weeks with you, Sokka.
Me too. Me too.
The only reason I can think of as to why everything is so bad is that every take this movie used was the first take. That has to be the only explanation, right? Prince Zuko, by far, is the best character of the show and has one of the best arcs in the entire series. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to see what happens to him throughout the show, just skip to this time right here. But basically, Zuko has the most growth and development, I think, out of any character in the show. He starts off as this whiny, bratty, evil kid who just wants to please his father by capturing the Avatar and restoring honor to his name by becoming a still bratty but respectable and honorable hero by the end of the show. He becomes the Fire Lord at the end of the show, but who he was in the last episode was a completely different person than he was in the beginning of the show. He went through an arc throughout all 3 seasons, and it was beautiful. It was great. It was so well written and developed, and the acting was amazing. Literally my favorite character from the show and the best character from the show. And then you have Zuko from the movie. I'll give the movie credit for this. At least they pronounced Zuko's name right. At least they didn't do something like Zucko or something. Like, they could have easily fucked that up too, but thankfully they did. So Zuko in the movie, he has the motivation. They establish it, but the thing is, it's not well developed. It's not well told at all. It's flat out just told to you rather than just shown. And worst of all, I don't care. Even the scar on the live action Zuko was awful. Zuko's scar is an important part of who he is. It's a constant reminder of the humiliation he felt that day when his father burned him and exiled him. It basically motivates him to capture Aang and return Aang to his father so he can restore his honor and make his dad proud. And it's a part of him forever. Even afterwards, it's still a reminder of what has happened to him and the disgrace and humiliation he felt. Like, you can clearly see in the show, like, it's a badass scar, right? But in the movie, I couldn't even see the scar. It didn't look like Slumdog Millionaire even had a scar on his eye. I mean, if you squint at the screen, maybe you could see something, but really there was nothing there. So there's nothing for us, the audience, to connect to Zuko with, because we could barely see his scar, his literal and metaphorical scarring. Even Appa and Momo were just done so dirty by this movie. Appa and Momo didn't have lines in the show at all, but they had so much personality. Like, in the movie, they're just objects to get the heroes from one place to the other. Momo in the movie doesn't even do anything. He might as well not even be in the movie. He's just there for fan service, basically. Plus, Appa just looks absolutely disgusting in the movie. Like, just look at this, then look at this. Which one would you rather fly around the world with, this abomination or this cute and cuddly little creature right here? I think I know my answer. Appa in the movie looks like the moon emoji with the face, but just more terrifying. I honestly don't know how anyone saw the design for this and said, yeah, let's go with that. That's cute. The movie has a shit ton of narration that's completely unnecessary and just 80% of this movie's exposition, and it's just so annoying and bad. Like, they don't even have to take the time to show us anything and just flat out just tell us. They just tell us. Like, you know the rule, show don't tell. Yeah, this movie doesn't do that at all. It is the complete opposite, actually. One more thing I should talk about, I guess, is the choreography, the action. The action in the show is very quick, very well choreographed, and very well just animated to begin with. And the thing is, when it comes to animation, there are things you can't really replicate into live action. That's why it's animated in the first place. So you have more versatility and have more freedom to animate things that you can't really do in real life. In the movie, the bending is just so slow and so poorly choreographed. It's so boring. Like, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make each element look like a dance. Like, fire is a very aggressive dance and water is more flowing and smooth, whatever. I see what they're trying to do, but the execution of it is just so piss poor. It makes me laugh. Like, I will never not laugh at the earthbending scene, like this one. That's honestly just so terrible. I can't help but laugh at it every time I see it. Really, just everything about this movie is just an absolute atrocity. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend this movie to anyone to ever see ever. I mean, if you really want to, then get drunk or something and maybe you can enjoy it some more, but I would never, not even on my worst enemy, make someone watch this. This is just an absolute atrocity. It physically hurt me to watch. I don't really know what else to say. I hope you're all doing safe in these uncertain times, whether you're being safe in quarantine or being safe at the protests. Just I will hope you're all are doing fine and being safe. There is just one thing I want to point out before I leave, something that I find really funny, and that is that Yue's hair looks like a penis in this movie. Okay, peace out.